Welcome to the Business Buyer Diaries. My name is Nathan Platter. I'm a full-time employee, and I bought a business. I did everything right, from finding the deal, handling all the due diligence on 63 opportunities, and ultimately bought a profitable gym. And boy, was I in for a big surprise as a new owner. I chronicled everything in real time, including the biggest wins to the stressful nights at 2 a.m. I'm sharing my journey without sugarcoating anything, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Here's today's episode.
All right, let's talk golden handcuffs. We're going to talk about why people who feel like they should be able to make the leap to a business owner or an entrepreneur don't, and why that is a struggle for society. So if you want to hear about the daily struggles of owning the gym, or the complications of lines of credit, or employee headache, which I don't have any right now, go ahead and skip the episode, because I'm talking about why people don't leave their corporate job to own a small business or buy a franchise. And this is my core part at the area of all this. My end goal for this whole podcast series is to be like a consultant for franchisors and high income individuals, figuring out how to bridge those two to meet together, create a transition plan so that the people that are capable, qualified, and driven to own a small business take the leap out of corporate to own a small business and get us back to our as a country right now. And let's get into some brass tacks here. So I live in the Midwest. I work for a tech company in the Bay Area. If you want to figure out what I make, like, go for it. I'm not going to reveal my W-2 today. I'm not quite there yet. But I was talking to the guy who owns the marketing agency that runs stuff for my gym, and he's very good. He's very, very competent, very intelligent. Still green in the career side of things, but he's run this agency for like 2, 3, 4 years now. He said after 60 days, he can have a marketing agency up and running, doing $20,000 a month revenue with 50% margins, meaning the owner can make $10,000 a month profit. They could pay themselves, essentially. And $100,000 a year, that's good money for 2/3 of Americans, or for a third of Americans. And still I think it's like half of all people making over $150 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. There's some crazy stat like that. But the folks that work in tech, that work in management, director, senior VP, C levels, I'm talking to companies that are like north of 200 employees, rule of thumb, especially in the coastal states. Golden handcuffs, I always thought were like $1 million a year, 500, 200K a year. Golden handcuffs are a lot closer to like 100,000 a year. I'm not going to tell you like what I make, but if I said like, hey, you can leave your job at the tech company you're at, Nathan, you can now own a marketing agency that's making $10K a month. This is going to sound arrogant. I know people are going to take this out of context, but I would be taking a pay cut to do that. And here's some of the hidden elements of that as well. My employer pays 2/3 of my insurance premiums, so that's like $1,500 a month in value. They also have a 401k match of 4%, so that's a couple grand a year. They also pay part of my Social Security taxes, which I would have to pay self-employment tax if I own my own business. And so all I had to say, for me personally, in my lifestyle situation, I own a car that is worth less than 1/10 of my annual income. So let's pretend I make $100K a year. The value of my car is less than $10,000. So I am not riding high on my vehicle. The home that we live in and that we own, it's a starter home for having 3 kids. And if we have a 4th kid, we'll have 3 kids in 1 bedroom in a great city. So I guess that counts for something, but we're in a starter home for having 3 kids. Maybe we'll have 4. I don't know. And so all that to say, folks say, oh, why don't you take the leap to be an entrepreneur, be a small business owner? The time that have been the best to do it was when I was making $80,000 like 4 years ago. I would have been like, oh my gosh, I can make $10,000 a month. That's going to change my life. And I would be taking a painful pay cut. We would not be able to afford to keep the car and the house. I don't know how, it sounds bad, but I don't know how I would be able to do it. I really don't. And that sounds awful to say out loud. But that's why I'm working a day job and running a studio. Partially because I thought the studio would be profitable, and now it's taking a chunk of, the business funds are getting enough. I hope I won't eat up my personal funds. But all that to say, for folks that are in corporate, for companies 200 or more employees, I'm just picking a random number, that are managers, directors, VPs, C-levels, the folks that know how to grow an organization, hire the talent, develop the people, train teams to run autonomously, to unlock value. Those are the folks that need to be buying small businesses. And a lot of franchises, and I'm just going to make a broad sweep here. I saw the stat. I don't remember the details, so I'm just going to keep it basic. Most franchises that are out there in the marketplace, owner can take home 50, maybe $100,000 a year if you're lucky for a business. I think a McDonald's owner makes like $250, $400 a year. I don't know the details of what my teams make, but like a VP of data science. Here we go. So I know this based on Glassdoor, like a VP of of data science at Nike corporate makes like $300 to $400 a year, and they get all these ancillary benefits like insurance, 401k, maybe a Wi-Fi, maybe a vehicle comp, and they have a career. So if they get dropped from Nike, they can now land a role at Under Armour, Target, Best Buy, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, and probably make the same amount of money and live a cushy, nice, predictable life. If you're to be a business owner, your brain is now running all day, every day. You have additional headaches, additional hassles. You have more upside. You have a ton more downside. And if you want to make sure your mortgage is paid, your kids can go to the school that you want, I am not surprised most people want to work in corporate versus own a business. That does not surprise me. To me, that seems very rational. And I'm a risk taker. I'm dramatically a risk taker. And I can understand why folks want to stay in corporate. But there also comes a time in the economic cycle, like right now, where swaths of people are getting laid off. Folks that are used to making at Meta, Amazon, Netflix, just big tech, Microsoft, big tech companies, folks that are making 150, 250, 350, they're now hit. And now all these folks at top tier talent companies are now competing to land roles at their competitors. And the ones who should be targeted today, and this podcast is going to come out months from time of recording, so it's probably going to be dated. To me, franchisors need to be aiming to show why owning a business is less headache, more compelling, and more fulfilling from folks that don't have those A-class resumes, that have B-class resumes, that are more normal, everyday people. I doubt you'll be able to get someone to leave Amazon making $500 a year to now go open up a fencing company to make $150 a year. That's not going to fly. What you need to be able to do, franchisor, is find those folks that work at middle America companies. There's a slowdown in the construction business. And so now the project manager who's making $150 doesn't have a job for 2 years because construction is just slowing down. That is the person you need to target. And has an insane work ethic, is able to talk to the common man or woman, and be able to handle a little bit of everything, but also delegate. Because it's not about owning one location. I don't know of any. I know like 2 franchises that people make like $200 a year or more. And at $200 plus a year, that's where you're leasing whatever vehicle. Well, for most people, that's where you're leasing whatever vehicle you want. You're living in most homes that you want to live in. And above that, folks are going to be too addicted to the lifestyle of comfort. All this to say, what's the point of all this? Let's put a cake topper on this conversation. For franchisors to compete and get people to leave everything that has worked so well for them, you need to have something that's going to be way more compelling than simply, oh, here's an income opportunity. Hey, you can own a business and have the headache of employing people. Nobody's going to sign up for that. You need to sell the lifestyle, the time off, the choosing your own schedule, the flexibility of your own understanding. You don't sell the income. You don't sell the revenue. You don't sell the multi-location thing. You sell it as, hey, try one, test it out. If you like it, we'll get you more. If you don't, here's how you sell it in our resale partners. It'll take you 6 months to get out. You sell the time aspect. Nobody who's a VP or a C-level, maybe even a director, controls their time the way a small business. It's two different time controls. So here's where we're going. I was going to talk about golden handcuffs. Golden handcuffs is a real thing. If you're making over 100K a year, I totally get it. I can see why most people say, owning a business, payroll, leases, 10-year commitments, not for me. I can drop my employer and get a better job next week or in a month from now or really work at it. When you buy a business or start a business, you're locked in for a couple of years and you're probably going to grow some gray hairs from it. We're going to stop it here because it's time to move on to the next thing in the morning. But golden handcuffs, how to pull people out of corporate, the folks that are able to grow teams, grow headcount, quadruple revenue, find market opportunities. Those are the folks that need to be owning and running small businesses, bringing corporate knowledge, expertise, connections to Main Street people. That's where we need more folks in society. And a lot of folks right now that run businesses usually are technicians in their industry, meaning they like to work in the business, not on the business. And every person who's a director at a tech company knows they are not going to be writing code. They're going to be hiring coders, developing coders, building teams, coordinating work schedules, making sure that the system flows and runs smoothly as possible. So that's my little quick teaser for franchisors and how it can help you connect to people. I'm not going to connect you one-on-one, but I am going to help you reframe how you approach your marketing strategy. Because as a business, your sale is not in the franchise fee of $50,000. Your moneymaker is me getting someone to sign a 10-year agreement, and now you have 120 coming revenue payments coming in. Your franchise fee is irrelevant. It's your monthly royalty that matters. And there's between 7% and 8%. If someone doesn't sign because of a 1 percentage point difference, you found the wrong person to begin with. So I would say slash your royalty, slash your franchise fee or your transfer fee, because you're winning the hand to lose the poker game. And the person who wins the game of poker, football, war, it's all about who's hoisting the trophy at the end of the day and whose history's going to look on as the victor 10 years from now. It's not the person that won that little battle that's going to be the long-term victor. That's where we're going. Let's rock and roll.
This has been another episode of the Business Buyer Diaries. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I hope you're realizing that business ownership is no cakewalk. Check the podcast notes for a link to the DIY due diligence program, the complete list of show sponsors, and for media inquiries. Music written and composed by Wes Schrock. I'm your host, Nathan Platter. Join me again on the next one.